Ukraine's counteroffensive in occupied Zaporizhzhia appears to be finding success in widening a breach of Russia's formidable, Surovikin line, according to the Institute for the Study of War (ISW). A report published Thursday by ISW, a US-based think tank, cites geolocated footage showing that Ukrainian armored vehicles were operating beyond the tri-layered defense line and were engaging, in limited combat, west of the settlement of Verbove. The think tank cautioned that it was unclear if Ukrainian forces retain these positions. The Surovikin line, named for Sergei Surovikin, the former commander-in-chief of the Russian Aerospace Forces, also known as General Armageddon, is an 81-mile trench system that passes just outside of Verbove and consists of a series of obstacles that include landmines. ISW said that Ukrainian forces breached the line by pushing through Russian anti-tank ditches and dragon's teeth obstacles, becoming the first observed instance of Ukrainian forces operating armored vehicles beyond the Russian tri-layer defense. The Ukrainian ability to bring armored vehicles to and through the most formidable Russian defenses intended to stop them and to operate these vehicles near prepared Russian defensive positions are important signs of progress in the Ukrainian counteroffensive, ISW's report states. Russian forces currently defending in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast have been unable to prevent Ukrainian forces from making gradual but steady advances since mid-August, it continues. Maps included in the ISW report show the claimed Ukrainian advances, while nothing that Russian claims and geolocated footage indicate that Russian forces repelled Ukrainian forces, attempting an offensive toward Verbove. Newsweek reached out for comment to the Russian Ministry of Defense via email on Thursday night. The ISW report also cites a Ukrainian soldier purportedly telling the Wall Street Journal that, poor quality, Russian troops are defending frontline trenches in the area but, stronger, troops emerge when the defense line is breached. The think tank said that the Sotter's comments were consistent with its assessment that elite Russian troops were the primary counterattack elements in western Zaporizhzhia. Ukraine also reportedly breached the Surovikin line earlier this month, although no armored vehicles were observed operating beyond the line at the time. Russia has lost more than 400 artillery systems in the past 2 weeks, Kyiv's military has said, as the importance of artillery for both Russian and Ukrainian forces in the east and south of the country shows no signs of fading. Between September 8 and September 21, Moscow's troops lost a total of 415 artillery systems in Ukraine, according to figures published in a daily update by the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces. Artillery has always been a huge part of the war effort on both sides of the nearly 19-month-old conflict. Artillery has consistently featured high up on Ukraine's wish list of military aid from Kyiv's allies, such as the US. This is a massive artillery duel, said Dan Rice, a former advisor to Ukraine's top soldier, General Valery Zaluzhny, who is now the president of the American University Kyiv. Around 80% of the casualties on both sides of the front lines are down to artillery, he told Newsweek. According to the Ukrainian General Staff's figures, Russia has lost a total of 6,137 artillery systems since Moscow's troops crossed over into Ukrainian territory to launch its full-scale invasion in February 2022. On Wednesday, Moscow's defense ministry said Ukraine's military had lost 6,462 field artillery guns and mortars in the war so far. Newsweek could not independently verify battlefield losses reports from either side. Russia's defense ministry and the Ukrainian General Staff have been contacted for comment via email. Artillery is proving crucial for Ukraine's ongoing counteroffensive push, which Kyiv launched against Russian positions along the front lines in eastern and southern Ukraine in early June. What they're doing is an offensive operation, which is extraordinarily difficult, and to do that, you have to have fires and maneuver, General Mark Milley, the U.S. chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said during a media briefing at the Ramstein Air Base in Germany on Tuesday. Several million artillery rounds of various types, including 155mm and 105mm, have been sent to Ukraine, Milley said. They could not be executing the operation that they're doing without those munitions. They just couldn't do it, he added. Ukraine's counteroffensive efforts in recent weeks have focused on pushing back Russian forces close to the recently reclaimed Zaporizhzhia town of Robotyne, in the south of the country. Earlier this month, Ukraine said it had broken through Russia's first line of defenses around the town, and analysis has suggested slow gains on the way to the Russian-controlled city of Bakhmut. Ukraine will likely look to move towards the Zaporizhzhia city of Melitopol, and on towards the Sea of Azov. Ukrainian forces are working on offensive operations around Melitopol and around the eastern city of Bakhmut, Ukraine's general staff said on Thursday. Russia has controlled Bakhmut since May, but Ukraine has reclaimed 2 villages on the decimated city's southern flank in the past week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday Ukraine had taken control of the Donetsk village of Klishivka, just days after Ukrainian officials said they had recaptured nearby Andriivka. Russian forces tried to recover positions around Andriivka but had no success, the general staff said on Thursday, after Russia said on Wednesday its forces had repelled Ukrainian attacks on Klishivka. Earlier this week, ISW said that Russian losses had significantly increased as the Ukrainian counteroffensive found success in the Zaporizhzhia region, suggesting the rise in casualties could be due to Moscow's reliance on ill-equipped Storm Z units, which consist of former prisoners. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited Washington, D.C., on Thursday to meet with President Joe Biden and members of Congress, making the case for more U.S. military aid to bolster Ukraine's chances of fending off Russia's invasion, which began nearly 19 months ago. Newly released aerial footage shows an intense close-range duel between a Ukrainian tank and a Russian tank that left the latter annihilated. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense posted the video on X, the social media site formerly known as Twitter, on Wednesday. The new footage of the rare tank-on-tank encounter, which was first captured on camera last year, shows both tanks for the first time, revealing just how close they actually were to each other. The video, taken by Ukraine's 128th Mountain Assault Brigade, shows a Ukrainian T-64BV tank fire at a Russian T-72B3 from the other side of a trench and a line of trees, just yards away. 2 explosions hit the Russian tank before the Ukrainian tank drives off. A tank duel, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense wrote on X. A Ukrainian T-64BV knocked down the occupier's T-72B3 at close range. The post does not indicate exactly where the fight took place, but according to RBC Ukraine, it happened in the Zaporizhzhia region. Tank-on-tank engagements have become relatively rare, according to a 2023 special report from the Royal United Services for Defense and Security Studies. But when they occur, they usually take place within 1,000 meters.